I think my spouse is hiding assets. What should I do? Dustin McCrary, divorce attorney and founder of the law office of Dustin McCrary, discusses a situation that happens far too often. One spouse making the decision to hide assets from the other. Hi, I'm Dustin McCrary. Thanks for joining me today. Today, I'd like to discuss a topic that comes up all too often, and that is when one spouse makes the decision to hide assets and important financial information from the other during a divorce. While most of us would like to think that our spouse would not engage in this sort of behavior, the truth is that divorce can cause people to act in uncharacteristic and surprising ways. Even if you think your spouse might never engage in this type of behavior, the truth is that it can never hurt to be prepared. Being alert and aware of strange behaviors and signs that your spouse might be hiding assets is simply being smart. When most people think of hiding assets, they think of stashing cash away in a secret account or hiding it under the mattress or having some investments or ventures that the other spouse is unaware of. Certainly, this can be the case, and it does happen. In other cases, the process of hiding assets can be significantly more complex. It's not unheard of to hear of for one spouse who owns a business to deliberately diminish or understate the value of their company in order to keep the other spouse from getting a fair share. In other cases, too, assets may be manipulated to appear to be worth more or less than their actual value. This could take the form of overfunding a defined benefit retirement plan, moving money to an account that one spouse is not aware of, or simply creating an account entirely without the knowledge of the other spouse. Over the course of many years of practicing, I have seen all kinds of behaviors and ideas that people come up with to try to hide both assets and debts. Sometimes people even try to manipulate the value of an insurance policy with the goal of hiding funds that may not be noticed by attorneys who aren't looking very closely, or by spouses who would have no idea that this could even be done. In other cases, I see people who want to manipulate assets or debts, depending on the situation, to impact a settlement, or if the case goes to trial, the judgment of a court. Needless to say, all of this information can be unsettling, and it ultimately leads to the question, how do I know? How do I know if my spouse is engaging in this sort of behavior? Unfortunately, the answer is that no matter how hard you try, there may be situations in which you simply don't know. In some cases, however, there are red flags you can look for. If you think that your spouse may be trying to manipulate or hide assets, look for the following things. Control. Is your spouse in charge of managing your marital finances? If so, this is not particularly unusual, as in many marriages, one spouse handles the financial details while the other spouse takes care of other matters for the family. Beware, however, if you ask your spouse for information about various financial accounts and your spouse refuses to provide it, this may be a red flag. Sudden secretive behaviors. Is your spouse suddenly behaving in unexpected and unusual ways? For example, is he or she having some of your mail sent to a P.O. box that you don't have access to instead of your mailbox at home? Is your spouse being secretive about phone calls that he or she is making and clearly would prefer you not to hear? Have you noticed any withdrawals from joint accounts that you haven't been informed of? All of these things may be signs that your spouse is up to something that he or she wants to hide. Beware of unusual computer activity. Is your spouse suddenly removing programs or adding new ones to the computer? Is everything on your computer password protected and your spouse refuses to provide the passwords? If so, that's not okay, and it's a legitimate reason for concern. Your spouse may be hiding information about matters, financial or otherwise, that you have a right to know about. Look for conversational clues. Sometimes there won't be one particular piece of evidence as much as there will simply be clues in your spouse's conversations that are worth cluing into. Is your spouse suddenly downplaying the profitability of your business or his or her performance at work? Was your spouse set to get a big promotion or raise at work, and yet suddenly there seems to be an unexpected and unexplained change of events? Certainly, in some cases, your spouse may be telling the truth about these changes, but it can't hurt to be careful and cautious as you investigate the truth of particular situations. Ultimately, you know your own situation and what behaviors or changes may be red flags and different from your normal. In some cases, those changes may truly be nothing to worry about. And in other cases, they may be red flags that can alert you to the possibility of funds being hidden that you might otherwise be entitled to. If you worry that this may be the case, as with all aspects of the divorce process, it's a wise decision to talk to your attorney about your suspicions. He or she will be able to advise you as to the best possible steps to take to protect yourself and your family during the divorce process.